getting ready to make the white sandwich bread recipe from the Kneady Homesteader. It's a wonderful recipe. I made it yesterday. I'm making it in the Pullman Pan, and I'm making it again today. It was so good. I'm going to take some into work with me. But what we're going to start out with is getting our yeast ready. I have got Fleischmann's active yeast. You can use any brand that you prefer for this. You can use instant. You can use the active. And with the active, you do need to actually activate it. That's how you can remember that you always need to do this, is you need to activate it. So I'm going to put, I'm going to go by what the instructions are on the jar, and it calls for 1 teaspoon of sugar. And then it calls for 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. And with this one, you let it set for 10 minutes. So there's 1, 2 1/4. And yes, my hands are clean. I always wash before I start the video, right before I start it. So I'm just gonna stir this up just a little bit in here, kind of mix it with the sugar. And I have got 1 1/4 cup of water to total the 1 1/2 cups that's needed for the recipe. In the microwave, it just finished, and I'm making it a little bit warmer than normal because I'm going to go ahead and put it in the pan because the pan is on the colder side. It's not as warm as what this needs to be, which is why I activate it in the dish, because I put the water in the microwave. For my microwave, 1/4 cup in this takes about 10 to 12 seconds to heat up to the between 100 and 105 degrees for the yeast. And let me double check. Yeah, 100 to 110, not 15, it's 100 to 110 degrees. So I'm going to let that set for the 10 minutes. I'll put the timer on, but because this water is warmer, I'm going to go ahead and pour it into the pan so the pan can get at least a little bit warmer than what it is. And I will see you guys in now about 8 or 9 minutes. And I am going to go ahead and put the rest of the sugar into the big pan. It calls for 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to do 1 and like 1 3/4 here of it. And that way that'll get a chance to dissolve. And as you can tell, this is foaming up already. If you don't know how to proof your yeast, I did a video on it. Actually I did a short on it. So you can look that up on my channel to see exactly how well this works, because it was like a mushroom coming up out of it. It was amazing. So I will see you guys in just a little bit. So this is why you should never turn your back on your yeast, which is why I like doing the bread machine, because, well, it's got to be washed. Sorry, that is Pumpkin in the background. This has erupted again. I don't know if you guys have watched my video on the dinner rolls. Yeah, that erupted too. Let me just... And the counter is clean. I washed it off right before I started. Holy Toledo. Okay. Let me find my spatula here. Oops, sorry, Pumpkin. Got a cat that made an escape and he just came back in, and now he's wanting to be held. But this has got to come first. Okay, so obviously I need to have a bigger dish to proof this in, even if I only use 1/4 cup of water. Okay, let me get rid of this, wash my hands again, and my spatula off. Okay, so what is next is I'm going to bring my recipe over here, at least until I start the mixer. we're going to get the stuff in, then I will put the dough attachment on. So we have got, and you do this in the order that it's on there. So we're going to do the flour next. And I've got it right down here. Let me get this up. This is all-purpose flour. Now I could add a little bit of Vital Gluten to it. And you know what? Maybe I will. I do have some. So this is 4 cups of bread. It calls for bread flour. We're using all-purpose flour. There's 1. And I think you exchange out the amount that you put in. 2. 3. Now I think yesterday I ended up, as I was kneading it, I added in a 4th cup. A 5th cup to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 4 on it. And let me put this back over here. And then we have got 2 tablespoons of softened butter. Let me go grab that real quick. And we'll get that in there. And I am just not coordinated in remembering these things, getting them out. I did today, however. So we're going to do 2. This is really softened butter too. And I didn't say it whenever I was working with the water. That is filtered water that I use. I like it better than I do the tap water, even though I've got city tap water. Then we're going to do another hand wash because I've got butter and flour on my hands. Lid back on the flour real quick here. And it's going to be 2 tablespoons of dry milk. 1, 2, and then 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to go ahead and put in the full salt. I'm not a huge salt fan, so yesterday I didn't do that. And I'll tell you, it did need the full amount of salt in it. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold for just a second and go get my my gluten. Hang on just a second. Okay, so this is the Vital Wheat Gluten. Hope you guys can get a good picture of that I got. It's Anthony's Premium. I got it off of Amazon for it. So for every cup, 2 cups, I'm sorry, for every 2 cups of flour that you use, you add 1 tablespoon. And since I put in 2 tablespoons, or 4 cups, it's going to be 2 tablespoons. I'll get it right. I promise. It'll turn out. There are a few times that I have made things that weren't edible, but not many. Everybody has flubs. Okay, so if you were going to put spices in or herbs into this, like if I were going to make my my garden herb bread at this, with doing it this way, then I would add the herbs in at this point, because you want those to be really well incorporated into the dough recipe. So let me turn this on. I'm going to turn it on just 1. Whoops. Okay. That was a cat that had decided to get in my arms. Now he's out. I'm going to wash my hands again with my nuts mixing. Move this over here now that we've got all the ingredients. I'm going to wait until the flour is pretty well incorporated into to it. And then, oh, mistake here, you guys. Always lift the bowl up. Okay, here we go. Which is why you can never walk away from this. I may not show you all my mistakes, but I will tell you about my mistakes. So once this really gets incorporated into it, so that the flour won't go flying around, I will turn it up to level 2, and then we will knead for 5 minutes. Side. It would eventually get to it. I'm just trying to be helpful. So the pan that we're going to use today is a Pullman Pan, and it is shaped like this. It does, well, that's not a very good picture. I'll give you a better picture of it later. It's all metal on the sides. It's got a metal top that slides onto it. And this will give us the crust of what sandwich bread is, like the square sandwich bread that you buy at the store. And the bread that I made yesterday, it did not rise as well as I would have liked it to, but I think whenever I started putting it together in a roll, I'm so used to doing French bread that I thinned it out too much. So I'm going to try and do a better job with this one, but it will brown on all 4 sides, or it should, and it's a lighter texture of the tan color, like an angel food cake color. And as you guys can see, it's pulling away from here. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up on 2, let this go for 5 minutes, and I will bring you guys back at the end of the 5 minutes. So my 5 minutes is up, and I wanted you to see what the dough looked like. See how it is pulling away from the sides? I'm going to turn this off, put it down, and then take this off. And my hands are washed. Come on, off of there. There we go. And it actually pulls off the dough hook pretty easily. And that's the way that you want it. And you see how I can grab it and it doesn't stick? That is the ideal situation. So I'm going to get this moved over to my glass top stove, which actually works out as a great place to roll out dough or to knead dough. So we'll be back in just a minute. By the stove, and we are going to put a little bit of flour down so that the dough, it shouldn't stick, but this will make sure that it doesn't. And then you just kind of roll it out. See how clean the bowl is? And that's the way that it should be. So what we're gonna do is kind of form a ball with this and just do a little bit of kneading to it. Actually, I'm not even going to really knead it. I'm just going to try and make it into a ball here. And yesterday when I was doing this, I don't know why, but for some reason I had trouble with this one. I didn't with the dinner rolls that I did right after. And the dough is pretty close to the same. Pinch this together here. Kind of pinch and tuck it in just a little bit. Just kind of tuck it under like this. And that will help. Then I am going to, I've got my mixing bowl over here. I'm going to put some olive oil in it it calls for spray oil, but all I've got is my avocado oil, and I'm going to hang on to that and just put some olive oil in it. And the reason that you put an oil in the bowl, Bentley, shushies, hey, Bentley, shush. Okay, he's got to have the last word. The reason that you put the oil in and kind of coat it on the dough is so that whenever it does rise, let me just do this a minute here, if I can kind of, that looks much better than it was yesterday. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'm going to put it in here and just kind of twirl this around and flip it over several times, and then I'm going to wet down a tea towel or a towel and put over this. And we want it to double in size, so that it can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, even a little bit more. It depends upon the heat of your house. What I'm going to do actually is set this up on top of my refrigerator. It puts up enough heat from it that it will help this raise up nicely. And I think yesterday when I was doing it, it took just a little bit more than an hour. It might be a little bit, let me get some of this oil up here on the sides. So as it grows up, it won't stick. The heat from the top of the refrigerator was just enough to, well, it was enough to raise it nicely. Okay, I'm gonna go get the towel, put over it because I didn't bring it out here with me. And then I will meet you back here. I'll check it in 30 minutes, and then if I need to, I'll check it again in an hour. And I will see you guys whenever it's doubled in size. Okay, so the dough has nicely risen here. It has more than doubled in size. There's a little bit of fuzz from the towel on there. And what I'm gonna do is to gently punch it down. And just deflate it a little bit. Just do it nice and gently. And then you're going to roll it out onto the surface. Put my dish over here. And then we're just going to start rolling it. We're going to keep in mind, this is what the Pullman Pan looks like. I couldn't give you a very good view of it. Maybe I still can't. Of it. But we want this just a little bit longer than what the pan is. And I think that was my mistake yesterday, is I was thinking French bread. So I'm just going to kind of pinch this here. This is that edge that was up. And then what you want to do is on the ends is you want to push it in and then just kind of pinch it, and it will give you those finished ends to it. Push it in and then you raise it up and just kind of pinch it in. So I'm just going to flip this over and just kind of roll it. This is actually working pretty good without the flour down. Okay, so I am a little bit bigger than what the pan is, and I took some olive oil with a paper towel and just kind of did the inside. I oiled the inside of it. And then you want to push this. I hope y'all can see it clearly. You want to give it kind of a firm, but not a real hard, but you want it to go out to the edges of the pan, and you want the base of it too, not just the top part of it. And then this will slide onto it, like, kind of like so. Whoops, Sorry, wrong end. Slides onto it from this side. And then what I'm going to do is preheat the oven. But I am going to, it's at 350. I'm going to preheat it. Well, it's going to actually go for about 30 minutes. That's going to help this rise up. And I will bring you back at the end of the 30 minutes. But once we get to the end of the 30 minutes, we cook it for like 25 to 30 minutes, or bake it rather for 25 to 30 minutes. So here's my start time. My warm-up time is going to be the full 30 on it, but this should get warm enough to help that rise, and I will bring you back whenever it does. Whoops, I just turned it off. Whoops. We'll go with the 25 on it. Well, actually, no, we'll go for the full 30 because that's how long we need to let it rise, is for 30 minutes. I could put it back up on the top, but, and then start. So I'm just gonna put this back here. It gets warmer at the back of my stove than it does at the front of it. But once again, I will just bring you guys back in 30 minutes and let you take a look at it. When I had it setting on top of the stove, it didn't rise up very much. So I opened the oven up and let it cool off just a little bit, put it in there, and I want you to see how much it's risen up. So I'm hoping that it comes up the rest of the way with the baking on it. But I'm going to put it in for 350. I'm going to set the timer for 25 minutes and we'll check on it. The 25 minutes are up. I'm just going to push this back a little bit and we can take a peek and see. Now this crust, ooh, look how that firmed. Oh, I love that. I'm going to put it back in for just a little bit longer though. It should be kind of a light tan color, and that is actually pretty off-white, to be honest with you. So I'm going to put it back in for another 5 minutes or so, and then I will bring you back. It's been 5 minutes, and let's slide the lid back just a little bit. If it is good, which, you know, I'm going to put that back in for just a little bit longer. That is still pretty soft in the center. Very spongy. So I'm going to put it back on for a couple more minutes and we will be back. So another 5 minutes is up. So it's been a total of 35 minutes that it's been in the oven. So let's take a look here and see. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to leave this closed. I'm going to leave it out of the oven and we'll see where it goes, because it's still going to be baking. This is extremely hot, so it's still going to bake some, and we'll see. If it looks like I have to put it back in, then I'll put it back in the oven for a while, but as of right now, it's staying out. So I will be back later, you guys. Okay, so it's been another 5 minutes, so that's a total of, what, 40 minutes? Let's see, 25, 30. Yes, a total of 40 minutes. So let's push this back and just see. Oh, yep. I think this is it. See how it's that nice light tan color? That's the color it should be. I'm going to close this. Just let it set here and cool off before I actually take the lid the rest of the way off. With this to set it on. And whenever it's cool enough that I can take it out of the pan, I will bring you back for that. It's got to completely cool off though before we slice into it. Everybody loves that nice warm piece of bread with butter on it right out of the oven, but that actually lets the moisture escape from the main part of the loaf, especially with the heat. It just accelerates that. So it's really best to wait until it completely cools. It'll keep the moisture in. It'll keep it from getting that kind of chewy center to it. But if this is anywhere as good as what yesterday's was, this is going to be fantastic. What I'm going to do with yesterday's is I'm going to slice it, let it dry out, and then I'm going to make breadcrumbs. I'm going to make, breadcrumbs out of it. So, and I don't know, maybe I'll do a video on that too. But I will see you guys in a little bit. This has cooled off enough that I'm going to take the lid off of it. Just a little warm to try and grasp it to flip over. So what I'm going to do is, you know what, I am going to go find, let me find, here's my cooling rack that we can use to flip it out on. Let me get it this way here. And let's just flip it out. Hopefully it's oh, there it came out right away. Oh, look at that color. That is so pretty. That is like the perfect color. It is still steaming hot though. So I think I'm going to put it back in the pan, let it cool off the rest of the way. But I wanted to show you the color of it. You know what? Let me take this out of the holder here and flip this. I guess I won't flip it around, will I? So I flipped it out of the container, the pan, and this is the golden brown color that it is. It is still kind of steaming hot and very moist. So I'm going to put it back in the pan, let it finish cooling off the rest of the way in that. And you know what? It's almost bedtime. I'll just take it out in the morning then, and maybe give you a picture of it then, and we'll do the cut in the morning. So I'll see y'all later. See how this comes out of the pan here. Just gonna see if I can flip it over. Remember, I did olive oil with just a paper towel. Oh, look how pretty that color is. This is moist. I had left the top off. It is more the dry firm. But let's flip this back over here and see. And this may have come from me opening it back to take a peek at it to see how well done. So let me cut into this. Oh my gosh, look how pretty that is. Can you see how the crumb is? I hope you guys can get a good view on that, on this end of it. It is beautiful. And you know what? I am gonna put this, I saved excuse me, I saved store-bought bread wrappers, the plastic that they come in, and I put my bread in those, and you know what, they stay really fresh. I wash them out, turn them inside out, wash them, let them dry. Oh my gosh, this is so good, even with nothing on it. Well, I highly recommend giving this a try. I love this little loaf pan. It just gives it a nice conformity. We're going to have the same slices on both sides. Not that that really matters, but it's going to be great French toast. I can cut it as thick as I want, and actually there's plenty of it here. And it's not huge, tall slices, so in a way it's kind of a portion control. You can cut it as thin as you want, as thick as you want. And just the texture is outstanding. Actually, it's probably one of the best ones that I've ever had that's homemade. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, that you learned something from it. You know, leave some tips down below if you've got any tips for using this, because I am actually really new to it. Or if there's any type of bread or dish that you want to see me make, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Can't guarantee it'll turn out, but I will definitely attempt it. So I hope you all have a good day. Yes, it is 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up to go to work. So y'all take care, and I will catch you later on. And just keep moving forward. Keep doing the best that you can do, and have the very best day that you can have. Doesn't mean it has to be perfect, but just have the best day that you can.